I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. She'll TA with the $15 an hour.
Okay.
That's fair. The part you're gonna get angry with me at, I still gotta pass it to you.
I already know where it is.
Yep. Yep. And again, I'll say, your members don't agree with something, I'm gonna come back. So my members didn't agree with this, so I'm gonna come back. But I truly believe this, at least the last sentence will cover your concerns.
So what did you change? Just
I'm
the
sorry,
last
I
sentence?
had a.
That's okay, I'm just, for clarity, the last sentence?
No, because, no, that's,
Do you want to?
All right, I'll
here's the TA one.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I have some computer issues.
So you can bounce them against each other and look at them. Still believe that people that are providing services to students should be providing services to students and not spending their day doing extra duties. I agree with you there.
Yeah, so, we still would have concern, I understand what you're trying to do. We still have concerns about, like our social workers and our school counselors who are providing vital services to our schools.
I agree, and that's why I put that last line in there, the last two sentences, whatever. It says if it's not equal, if someone's getting really, let's have the conversation, because I agree. If you're a guidance counselor, you should be seeing kids, right? And you shouldn't be guarding. You gave me an example of a kid guarding, some lady guarding the sink all day long. I agree that shouldn't be happening, right? And if that kind of stuff is happening, let us know. We'll make sure everything's equal. Let's just think about it.
Yeah,
You know what I
we'll
mean?
give it time.
That was. Appreciate you. The intent of the proposal.
Who's the goal you're really trying to exclude from this? Would it not be easier to write it towards the people we're trying to exclude and include more people?
I don't know that I'm trying to exclude someone. I don't want, let's say, I don't know the groups well enough, and I apologize, the way it's worded here. Maybe like you guys call them, so I don't know, I can't.
Teacher on assignment?
TOAs, maybe there's another IG, OG, there's a G or something like that.
Services professionals?
No, not the guidance counselors.
No, the service professionals.
Yes.
GSPs.
The GSPs, testing coordinators, things of these types, right? Like I don't want to list a bunch of
You mentioned athletic
directors, right? Like you can't tell me that athletic director's not going to supervise kids. Yeah, you're going to supervise kids.
Can I just ask about the testing coordinators?
Yeah.
Because the amount of testing has
Sure.
tripled.
Oh.
So that's I get the TOA, I get the AD, but guidance service professionals, like they used to test once a year, and I don't want to say once a year because I'll get in trouble because you've got the retakes, you've got a whole bunch of stuff. Right. But then we moved from the model of, the traditional spring testing coupled with
I hear you.
beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year.
I hear you, and I agree with you, right?
Okay.
But there also, we can agree that there's times in that where maybe not so busy.
No.
We'll agree to disagree.
I
know.
Native Francis.
Because they're doing.
Native Francis.
I know they do retakes and reschedules, and I know. Trust me, if you were in job security, you'd be a testing coordinator, right? Like, those jobs are.
There's a job I never want to do.
Right, exactly, right. Like that's a
Because of how it's
very demanding job. And he just asked me for example, so on top of my head, I'm just trying to think, right?
I would be opposed to putting that in there, just because I know, having been
Well,
on campus, I know what those people are.
I'm not a fan of listing jobs either, right? I'm not a fan of listing jobs either. I'm saying it needs to be equal. I'm agreeing with you, it needs to be equal. That's why I put that last line there, and if it's not, let us know.
It isn't equal. That's why we brought it
And
up.
okay, well, that's why I'm agreeing with you. We will look at that. If it's not happening, we will look at it.
So how do you?
And I'm actually going, it's funny, I'm actually going to, because when we were talking about this, I'm going to 2 schools tomorrow from principals that said, we can't do this. And I said, you can do it. So I'm going to the schools tomorrow to help out and see how we can make it easier, right? Like, this is something that I agree with you that the people that are providing services to our kids need to do their job and provide services to our kids, right? But I also know safety comes first. And so if I can equally distribute, it's not a problem. Fair? Like
All right, well, we'll get back to you on that. We're gonna think about it.
So we are not ready. I thought we could. Some questions came up with insurance. We have to talk to our insurance provider to see how, which, why, whatever, right? I would love to tell you, let's just check this chunk and move it. I was told throttle back.
So, just a little history on that.
Mhm.
This has been an ongoing issue with, not saying you're doing it,
Yeah,
but
I get it.
historically blame the union about premium increases. Oh, the union's stalling on them. We actually brought contract language a couple of years ago where we asked to discuss premium increases in February. Because I'm sure what you're alluding to is, are we gonna have time to make a change before open enrollment?
So yes and no. Yes and no. Apparently, there was a team, a SIAC team that got together to talk about this, and they said let it happen at bargaining. Let them talk about it at bargaining for this. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah, you're
not
true,
being,
so-
I wasn't there, so.
No, you're true. So yeah.
So I want to make sure that everybody's in agreement. That was the statement. And so here we are, right? Here's my concern. And again, cards on the table. I have, because you guys want a chunk of money more for, and I understand why, right? I get it. Salary increases. I have to make sure that that doesn't affect everyone. Does that make sense? Like if 1010 or anybody else, now my insurance went up because BFT didn't want their insurance going up, like that type of thing. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm not.
I just gotta say, and no, not for nothing, but
Yeah.
nobody ever complains when they get the raises.
Sure.
that we
No,
fight
no,
for.
Yeah, but everybody else gets.
No, I
raised
get
with
it. I get it. I
So
understand.
just gotta say
But-
that,
but
I
I-
know that's not what you're.
I'm not an insurance guru. Matter of fact, I know very little about our insurance plan, so I have to trust my professionals who do that. And I don't want to get my mouth ahead of me, right? So let me just pump the brakes on that a little bit. Let me make sure.
That would be the first time in the history of the universe that a consultant said don't raise premiums, so.
Right.
I'm curious to hear that
Is
conversation.
it your hope you can bring, let's use whole numbers, more than if we're gonna raise insurance $1 million, you're not just bringing $1 million to the table, are you? I mean, if that's all you're doing, that might be issues.
I'm going to tell you, I was
Pull
at.
all cards on the
and again,
table.
The cards on the table. We're at 1.77, and I was going to go to 2%, right? So I think the total was 6 million, 6 million. So half of, basically half of what you were asking is what I was prepared to offer, right? But again, I'm gonna say it, I keep saying it, thank God for our voters, right? Who recognized, and we're taking care of a lot of people. Like we're just, understand too, we're in charge of not just BFT, we're in charge of all of BPS, right? And we have to take care of all BPS. We need to make a lot of changes in a lot of places. So for this year, I know last year you got like a 4.2 raise, and that was the highest since what, 2012? That sound about right? Right? So I get it, right? But now you're asking me to do it again. And that's going to be tough to do. But like I said, with the 2%, and I can show you the numbers, with the 2% that we're going to offer, even the first year teacher was going to see a 4.8% raise, right, with the millage, the average is gonna go up 8%, I believe it was, and then your 20%, your 20-year plus or 19-plus year people, we're gonna get like a 14-point-something% raise, including the millage. Now, I'm not discounting, that's where that money's coming from, I'm not
But
discounting
we're
it. Just let me finish, please.
We're not here discussing
Just let
millage.
me-
We've had this negotiation.
Right, but you're talking about raises. So
Yeah.
this is a raise than what they were making last year. Is that a true statement?
So here's a true statement.
So hold
Okay,
on, hold on,
no,
just-
here's a true statement. We have a former superintendent who's part of our instructional unit now.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ask him if he said we weren't going to negotiate raises on top of millage? Because that was one of his
We're
pledges.
negotiating. We're
You're
negotiating.
negotiating no more than the governor is forcing you to negotiate.
So, we're going above that. We're going above that. So, millage, average 8%, 9.8%. Average is 9.8%. So, I think it's a win. I think it's a win that you can say to your members, we got a 9.8% raise, and we're going to say it all over, tell everybody. Brevard members this year are going to get average 9.8% raise. That's pretty good. And on top of that, if we take the $10 million for insurance that we're going to incur, right, at no insurance premium in cost, I think that's a win.
I think that's some wordsmithing right there. That's some fancy wordsmithing. And listen,
It's truth though.
No.
I can show you the math.
Hold on. I could be using millage as a pawn right now too.
Sure.
I'm choosing not to.
Fair enough.
Because I know the real story behind millage. I know the history of what's happened
Sure.
with millage, and I know how that got passed. But I'm choosing not to use it as a pawn
I
because
understand.
it's not beneficial to
Fair
do
enough.
so for a community who extended themselves
Absolutely.
to make that happen.
Absolutely.
I would just like to see, I mean, I'm just putting it in there, I would like to see, I know the community came through for us. I would like to see Brevard Public Schools come through for us as a teacher. As a teacher, I loved my community having my back. I want to feel like my employer has my back. And that is a feeling, and I am speaking for a lot of teachers, that is a feeling that has been absent for many years. We don't feel like the district has our back because they offer so little. The state, we already know, doesn't really have our back. We know our community does, thanks to the millage vote. I would like to see BPS step up their offer, their side of things, what you guys can control, to make us feel like you have our back.
So to that I'll say, I believe in these negotiations, the things you have passed forward to us that you have identified as this is wrong, we need to fix it. We've agreed with you and have taken steps to fix it. I think that's a fair statement. I think it wasn't hard, at least not for me, to agree this is wrong, we should fix this, right? And if that's, and I've said it before, if this has happened in the past, I apologize, right? We're going to take care of our people, right? We have all new leadership here, and I don't know what was here before, and I apologize if the simple things like having equitable duties assigned was not a thing. That should be a thing.
Well, leaving when an air conditioner is broken should be a thing. And me leaving and not having professional courtesy of leaving at 3:15 instead of 3:30 because you know I worked 2 hours the day before
Sure.
should be a thing. So I don't want to do all that.
But we tried to address that, right? I thought we did.
No.
We didn't.
We did.
Entire
You
planning
cho-
time to do so.
I mean, we did, but
So,
we did.
we're still asking the board to go find additional dollars for this proposal.
Mhm.
Now, time and time again, we point to where the money is. We know there are 185 vacancies within the teacher unit alone, right? And Lord knows what it is on the 1010 side,
Sure.
et cetera. Right, so if you're budgeting, I think Ms. Lisinski said for 98.6% fill rate, we do not have a 98.6% fill rate.
Mhm.
So this money could be found in budgeting accurately for vacancies. Or maybe not the entire pot, I'll be fair, but there should be some money in that. And I believe, and I may be wrong about that, last year she budgeted for 96% fill rate rather than 98.6.
Okay.
So when if the CFO was comfortable doing that, why aren't we doing that this year? When we know the vacancies, we see the evidence of the vacancies, and from what I'm seeing, those vacancies aren't getting better week after week. They're getting worse, at best staying the same. So that's a pot you can be looking at. It's the honesty of, we are not filling these positions. We are not going to fill 185 positions or whatever the 98.6% fill rate would be versus a 96% fill rate.
And also, as far as the millage is concerned, couching that percentage of a raise is disingenuous, because I understand that you haven't been in this county for the past 17 years, but I have.
Okay.
And the reason we got this millage was to fix the wrongs of years after years after years of pay freezes, of closing schools, and to get us moving in the right direction. Even with this millage, if we don't put significant compensation on the table, like we passed across, we're going to continue to fall behind. The millage is not to take the places of raises. And that was the message from BFT, that was the message from BPS to the voters and to its constituents and to its employees. And to come now and try to change that narrative, it's disingenuous and it's dangerous, because we have this many openings right now with the millage in place. We've got to show people, no, you need to stay because X, Y, and Z. And so the millage, like Anthony said, we've already negotiated that. That is over here. We are negotiating forward.
Correct.
And so, that is not.
I don't know the states. Go ahead.
That sounds like a good talking point right now, but I don't think you're forward thinking on how that's going to turn out if that continues to be the talking point. Because the community is going to continue to see lack of services. The community is going to continue to see their kids' classes overloaded. The community is going to continue to see their schools not getting back to where they were. Because, Brevard used to be able to brag about being first to Florida. We can't brag about that anymore. And so it's a dangerous talking point, especially because I would, and maybe it's wrong of me to assume, but I would like to assume that both sides of this table want to be able in 4 years to go back out for this millage and get it passed.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you right now, if the district is not serious about putting serious money on the table each year, not counting the millage, then I don't see a path to success to getting that passed. I don't. And that is all honesty. That is not me trying to make a play. That's not me trying to be coy at the table. That is somebody who has dedicated her career to this county saying this. And to, obviously, you guys have chosen Brevard to work, and I hope that you stay for a long time. But I've sat across the table from so many faces, and frankly, sometimes it gets tiring for someone who is raising my children in this community and who is working in this community to have to explain this over and over again, to just get the same line every time.
Yeah.
And so this is coming from a place of, we have to be dedicated to the future generations of this county. And that starts with us here, being serious about millage is passed, we've got to continue it, but that's not part of the discussion we're having for raises.
I understand what you're saying, and I respect that. But also know that the facts are, right? Like, it's still a 9.8% raise. That's it. You're just hear me out. Just hear me out.
I've already heard you out. That is not going to help in this conversation.
If you made $10 last year and you're making 9% more, that's a fact. It's a fact.
What are y'all gonna do for next year?
Yeah, for 4 years.
Yeah, wait.
until the
What's the
voters
talk?
vote
What's
for
the point next year?
We have a huge voting base
I agree.
as employees.
I agree.
That is not gonna, I just spent 5 minutes talking, maybe less. Did anybody time me? None of my words, you may have heard them, you didn't listen to me. That there was no listening going on that side of the table for that to have been your response.
Okay.
I care about Brevard County, and I need the people on this side of the table to care about
Agreed.
Around these guys.
So, what's next week look like for you, Mr. Colucci?
Hang on one second.
Anthony,
Yeah.
I just did some basic math, and if you start with a base salary of $48,725 for 185 unfilled positions, that's $9,014,125. A little over $9 million
Mm-hmm.
for those unfilled.
They got 17 for unfilled positions.
So, I did, just going back to the millage resolution, you're arguing against the resolution that the board used to go out to the community and ask for millage increases. It talks about whereas a recent increase in state categorical funding for raising minimum teacher salary and required minimum wage increase has resulted in significant disparity among experienced teachers' employees making the same or similar salaries as beginning teachers for Brevard Public Schools. Whereas Brevard average teacher salaries below the state average, including the average salaries in Orange, Seminole, and Indian River County. So this is going to perpetuate that whereas, especially. If they're getting raises of $2,000, if not more, because most of them are also, coming with longevity supplements, this is going to continue to be an issue, right? So the goal was millage to fix the compression, raises to make sure we're not behind our comparable accountants. That's in the.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay. But
We're in agreement with that.
Well, and I go back to what Kyle said earlier, right? Every district pretty much receives the same amount of funding, right? What we see is these other districts are making this work this year, and for whatever reason, Brevard's not making it work.
Okay. So next week, what do you look like?
Oh, before, we are good TAing that.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the answer to that.
It
So
worked out.
that my Cigna, because I'm on the silver plan, it wasn't showing. When Vanessa brought up her gold plan,
Gotcha.
it was showing, and
Yeah,
I forgot her name,
Lisa.
verified that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm on a silver plan, so I couldn't help you either. So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that system was that intuitive, to tell you the truth.
Okay, I'll let Lisa know.
You're saying it's a great insurance plan.
And
It's a good insurance plan.
No, you did a commercial on it earlier. How great it was.
Well, getting your benefits sooner is a very good thing.
Yes,
That is very good
It
thing.
is very good for
Okay, so next week. Monday morning, and then this is just me, Team Chow, if you, yeah, absolutely. Monday morning, could do late Tuesday afternoon, not preferable though.
When's the CBA thing? I thought that was next week.
No, we push it to October.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Friday morning. So that was Monday morning.
Yeah, she got it. Monday, Tuesday,
morning,
Friday.
Tuesday
Afternoon.
later afternoon, or Friday morning.
Let's make sure we can find a room first.
We can always do it at BFT, and we actually will have water and snacks.
I'll get snacks.
yeah, sweet or salty.
No, look at you guys.
Yeah.
You fancy.
I can't even find a cup in the cafeteria. You guys got them changed behind. Is that where races are coming from? Every cup
Hey,
saved.
We need to donate cups. so that
Every
we
cup
know-
saved is
Listen,
10 cents. per
Times are
week.
tough. Times are tough.